Hi guys, Michiana fisherman here. I've had lots of comments on how I did this or that building my shanty. I can tell you that using a shanty like this is something like you've never experienced. It's lightweight, the wind doesn't buffet and blow the walls, the ice don't drip on your head. But lots of people want to build one and they need a few little hints on what to do. So I'll tell you some things I've done to improve it this year and maybe answer some of your questions. Feel free to ask me anything you like. I answer all my posts and all my questions. So here we go. So one of the first things I did this year, when I backed the shanty out of the trailer, it was catching on the snow on that square lip. So I put these bent pieces on there. Don't ask me how hard that is. That's pretty difficult to bend those pieces of plastic. But now I can move it and it slides very easy and don't get trapped. I've added this handle on here in the past so that I can lift up the shanty and tip it up and down. I've added these clamps here where I can put my shovel and my squeegee to squeegee the water out of the inside of the shanty if I drill the holes inside. You can take a look what it looks like inside. The bench is already built in, and yeah, so when you get out to the ice, and mine is a sled, so it can be pushed out, it can be pulled out with a little tiny 8.5 horse motorcycle, but I can push this easily with one hand and slide it all the way out on the ice by myself. So I'm able to take this out on 1.5 inches, 2 inches of ice, as long as it's good ice, and not worry so much. I can still sit inside and be comfortable, have a place to lean back and to work. It has 4 fishing holes. Each hole has its own light if I want it. I've changed the lighting system now. I rarely use that. I can put my bucket of fishing poles right in here, so it's safely transported out onto the lake. And so when I get to the lake, all I have to do is I can pre-drill my holes if I want to. I've got it marked on here. I could pre-drill them and then drag the shanty over the top, or just drill them inside and shovel it out. That's what I do most anymore. So I just grab it. I'm gonna tip it up, set it down on the ground here, and I only have 2 latches to hold it. There, this one here, and there's another latch over here on this hinge. Yeah, I'll try to get a good video here. So it just pops off real easy. You can do that with gloves on, no big fuss. So you see how this one wall sticks out farther than the others. That's because the top wall has to be wide enough to fit across the other walls. And you'll see what I mean here if I can do this video by myself. So here's the hinges that I use. And you can see I just bored an extra hole where I wanted it. The walls, they're made of 3/4 by 3/4 pine. They just have a little 1/8 inch Luan gusset on there. And you can see it's kind of like a framework, so that when the other walls fold up against it, it just touches up against there and seals it up. There's no extra expense of putting a rubber foam seal on there, because that could cost hundreds of dollars to use foam seals. So now if I want to, I can push this wall up, and you can see how that hinge is working there at the top. And so when you make one, you have to make it so that this wall here can still close. You see? So then when I lift up this wall, I'm trying to do this with, so see, I can lift this up now. I'm switching hands with the phone. All right. Try to do a video by yourself, see how you do. But see, I got these eye bolts. There's 3 eye bolts there. And that drops in and holds it. And if it's real windy, you can put screws right into the wood just to keep the top from like blowing and lifting up. But also, hold on here. What did I do? I made these outside clips here that makes it nice and easy. I can just clip them in like that. So now I got another wall here to put up. Just push this up here. I'll go to the other side if I can make it in time. So I got a little string on here. Sometimes this string is the only noise I hear when it's windy. So you see this eye bolt there. And over here, we got a little bungee cord to make it easy. And I can take this bungee cord and put it straight over the hinge. So see, this hinge here is mounted to the roof, and this hinge is mounted to the front. Same way with this, I added a couple extra strength holes because there's only 3/4 inch right in here, so I just drilled my own holes and made the hinge work. See, the hinge is not screwed to the roof, it's only screwed to the wall. This little sensor here is my outdoor temperature. So it only takes 3, depends on how long of a roof you make. But you can see this is the only edge that doesn't have the lip that the wall comes up against. When the wall comes up against it, see, it seals it right up. You latch it, now it's all sealed. I even made the hinges so that the wall came out and it's not pinched flat in there like you would want to try to think you need to do, because this way my wall never freezes shut. And I also gained 1.5 inches of inside elbow room by making the walls come out. You just have to make this wall and all a little bit longer to match up. But I can tell you how to do that too. So now here I am over on the door side, and you can just take the door and you can see how it's working here. You grab this handle, just pull it up, hook on your little strap. It's quick and easy. Then over here, we'll put this latch on. And so now this door, same thing. No rubber seals to seal it up. It just goes up against there. On the bottom one, I just made it fit up against the. All right, come on here. I made it fit up against, instead of worrying about fitting inside. It just goes up against the outside of the wall. So now if I flip this handle here, both doors are hooked together. I'm pretty proud of that idea. You can see how nice that works. But see, the way they're held together is so simple and beautiful that the idea is, if I'm tired and I'm trying to hurry up and go home in a snowstorm, and I unlatch everything, and then I hurry up and start pushing this wall down like this. If this was a permanent sort of a connection here for these two walls, it would break something. But the way I did it, it just slips right out of there. And now that it's slipped out, it didn't break anything. And all I gotta do is, this door has its own little latch, and I can latch it back up. When I pull it back up again, like so. I know this is a long video, but that's what happens. You want information, right? I made a new window for this. This is 30 thousandths Lexan. I used 1/8 inch acrylic inside there. And then I made this outside bigger with a flange and then just glued it on there. I find that it's not easy gluing when it's cold outside, but and same as these. What you see inside now, it just comes right out flush. Got place here. That's for my magnetic covers when I want to block out the sunlight. So you see here we got a little wedge block. And this is just a dowel rod, and then you cut your pieces of PVC the right length to make it where you want. And I'm pretty fussy. I like them to line up straight when I do it. So now if I go inside, you can see what it looks like inside. I just push this over. That holds the door there real nice and neat. If I want to get some air, I swing it around and I put a notch in here. So I can swing this around, fit this into the notch. It's nice and tight so it doesn't rattle, and I get my airflow I need for getting the fumes out. I usually only use a 2-mantle lantern. I set it right down under there. I've done it for years. And I set my pizza on here, wrapped in a little aluminum foil, and it's really the way to go. So now, this is just an LED light. I get them at the Tractor Store, not Tractor Supply. I get them at another one, Rural King. But take this, and I mounted some magnets on here. I can take this light, and up on top I put in some metal pieces, and I can just mount this right on here. And now I got light. I plugged this into an inverter down here, set a battery and a cooler, and I've got light as long as I need it. And it's nice being old and having a light that will work. You know, you can tie 2-pound tests with old eyes, and that really is good. Here's them hinges I told you about. They mount straight down on here and go out that way so that you get a little extra elbow room. The nice pads I bought, I got them on sale. Boy, these paid off. They're nice thick pads, and they were less than 10 bucks a piece, so I was happy about that. Down in here, I made a thing. I got an extra replacement handle. If anybody doesn't know how that door works and breaks it, I can fix it. I've got a shelf here that I mount my cameras on. And all I did is I made a slot here out of 2 pieces of wood, and you can take this and put this in the slot and just jam it in there, and now you've got a place to set my hang my camera off of here, and I use clothespins to adjust the camera the way it's aiming. This is for a secret I made. It's a electric light biter. If you want to see it, you better tell me in the video. I mounted my this had a slot where it goes in. I can take 2 screws out and get it out of the way if I don't want it. Got a little support peg underneath, and I clamp my underwater camera on here, and I can sit right there and watch it. Both of us in the shanty can watch it. What else did I do? So the magnet things, these are my covers, and they got magnets here and here. And if you want to block out some sunlight, you just bring it up and touch those magnets on them pieces of steel, and bang, you're blocked out. And it works really well if you're sitting out in the shanty all day. You always want to have yourself one of these. This is the easiest one I found. I made it myself, cut it out of a gold pecan. And if you don't know what that is, I guess I could tell you, but I think you'll figure it out. When you're an old man, I can sit out in the middle of a channel with 100 people within feet of me and still relieve myself. So that's a blessing there. Beats walking all the way back to the boat landing. But anyway, I hope that this answered a lot of your questions. I know I've been rambling on here for almost 14 minutes. This does have reflectors on here. I've been on lakes and I sometimes spend 23, 24 hours outside without going back to shore. So if you don't have reflectors on there, you risk the fact that somebody could run into you with a snowmobile or something. So there you go. Any more questions, give me a message. Thanks. Bye. All right, so I wanted to make a shanty this year, a brand new one that will take a cot and a couple of reclining chairs. But the problem is I couldn't find this material. And if you see, this is very light material, 3/4 of an inch. It's got fiberglass on both sides. It's called R-board here, but they don't make it they don't call it R-board anymore. Now they call it Energy Shield, CFG. They make one with a metallic back on it. They make one that's black on one side, and they make this one here. But this is the one I want because it lets the light come in, so you don't have to run lights in the middle of the day if you got your windows blocked out. And it's not blue or pink like if you bought the pink insulation. It also doesn't drip on your head when it's unthawing, and that's a big plus also. But while my son's here videotaping me, I want to show you how I fold the shanty down and pick it up. All right, ready? Uh-oh, I didn't take my light off. Do over. Two latches. All right, that's how you do it. Thanks for watching.